Welcome to another episode of Graphic Content, the podcast where we talk all things who, why, and what the. My guest today. Now, going through your website, there was a laundry list of accomplishments and things. So I'm going to list off my favorite to sum you up the way that I think you
Okay.
should be summed up.
Okay.
She is a nutritional and wellness coach, a national level figure athlete from 2009 to 2014, Business Executive Award winner for Young Professional of the Year, the founder of Windsor, Ontario's premier fitness boutique, Shred Shop, and a retired ballerina, Sawyer Telegdy.
Of, of course you slide in the ballerina. Thanks
I,
for that.
I had to. It was gold going through. It's on your website.
Yeah, I know. Hey, who built that website? Let's tell him to take it off.
I heard he's a jerk.
Yeah, yeah. Great graphic designer. Terrible
Yeah.
human.
Yeah, he's garbage.
Yeah. Yep.
Honestly, Sawyer, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. When I was putting together my list of people that I wanted to talk to, because the whole premise of this podcast was I want to talk to people who are passionate about what they do. And obviously, you were like top of mind. I had to 100% get you. And
Thank
so
you.
I just want to thank you for coming and doing the podcast.
Absolutely. It's an honor. Any opportunity I have to set aside an hour of my life and talk to you, sign me up.
I know it doesn't happen that often anymore. I think because we've both been hustling, we've both been
Yeah.
working. And so when we see each other, we actually can sit and be present and engage with one another in a real way. So what are you doing these days? Because I really haven't talked to you since I think was it the anniversary party in October?
It might have been. The last
That's
time we face to face saw each
Yes,
other would have been end of October. Yeah.
that's crazy. So what have you been up to
Yeah.
lately?
It's been wild. It's November and December where everybody had their brain on Christmas. Everyone was busy,
Hmm.
shop, prep. In the gym industry, that those are our slower months, right? We kind of anticipate that. So that's usually the month, we all take a couple days to ourselves
Yeah.
and, the staff. So that was nice to spend family time. Normally we like to, Jordan and I like to skedaddle and spend the holidays on the beach somewhere, but we just didn't have that opportunity. We thought about it too late this year. And then January rolled around, and January in the fitness industry, is
Uh-huh.
a little chaotic. It was the perfect time for me to get whatever gastro stomach flu was going around and literally have to be dead in my bed for 2 full weeks. So my staff had to manage life without
Uh-huh.
me, and they did an amazing job. But it was the wrong time to have that happen, But
It's never the right time.
never. I know. When let me just schedule when I'd like to get the flu for 2 weeks. No one does that, but let me just pick the time that works for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
right?
God, but yeah, and then in a blink of an eye, the January was over, and now it's we're almost done February. So we've just been grinding and working, and yes, I'm a mentor with the Small Business Center here in Windsor.
Hmm.
So I like to a couple times a year they ask me to come and talk to the new business owners that are just kind of starting out, and they get to ask questions. That's always so enlightening and like fills my cup for myself too. To see that even though times are tough financially, emotionally,
Hmm.
for so many people, that there's still people out there chasing their dreams, So that always is a nice reminder of like, there's people that are still like, I want to be my own boss. I want to do this. I want to bring an amazing product or experience to the world. And that's like so motivating all the time. So,
You're motivating. Like 100%. I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up your ass. Like I truly mean it. The fact that you're talking, you're like, please do
say it louder in my headphone.
for everyone in the back.
Hmm.
But no, like legitimately, I feel like seeing you out in the community here in Windsor. So we live in Windsor, Ontario. To anyone who doesn't know where we're located, and I see, and I say this with love, this bitch hustling. She's literally doing everything. You're doing talks, you're doing podcasts, you're speaking to the community, hosting events. Like you're
Yep.
really out there. You're not just talking the talk. Like so many people, I think they're the social media people where they're like, look at all the things I'm doing.
Hmm.
You're like the opposite of that. You're actually doing them, but not really
Hmm.
showcasing it on your socials or like putting it up there. You're just doing it, which to me
Yeah.
I have so much respect for.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think that's important. I think I've always been a big believer in live your life instead of documenting your life, like
100%.
you and I went to a concert together, and we were probably the only people in the entire concert that weren't like this. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, why are you watching the concert through your cell phone?
Yeah,
And like, are you really going to go home in a month and like watch a 2 hour concert on your phone while you lay in bed? Like, why are we doing that? Just be present, be in the moment. But I do struggle with documenting and letting
that's
people know
annoying.
what we're doing. Right? I just feel like it's more impactful. I like, as I say, I'm not here to be an influencer.
No.
I'm here to influence. That's kind of more where my headspace is. I'd like to influence people by my actions instead of just be an influencer. That's my personal opinion. So,
Yeah, and you're doing it. I
mhm.
mean,
Thank
sometimes I
you.
feel like when we have that narrative in our minds of I'm not doing enough, I'm like, the comparison game, and
Hmm.
I'll see what you're doing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm really not doing enough. Like, I really need to be pushing myself more.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. It's nice to feel acknowledged and recognized. So, thank you for
Oh,
saying that.
100%. And like going back to what you were saying about creating the experience for the people that come in, like so
Yeah.
for you, you founded Shred Shop in 2018.
18. Yep.
Yeah, that's I cannot believe it's been that long already. Like
Yeah. It's going to be 7 years like that.
from when you started to now, like how have you found that shift? Because you were originally on Lausanne, right? And then now you're on Erie Street, which is in the heart of Little Italy.
Mhm.
And so how has
Mhm.
that been in over the last 7 years?
We were on Jefferson for the first like 6 or 7 months, and then we outgrew the space very quickly. And then I did have to relocate to Erie Street, and now we've been there for almost 6 years. It was an incredible transition in the sense of like, can I swear on this podcast? I have to
Yeah.
be able to swear on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Are
Okay,
you
good.
I'd literally
Okay,
intro
good.
it
Yeah, you
saying
did. You said fuck. Okay, good. Just
yeah.
checking. Just before my trailer mouth comes out, and
You're in good
okay,
company.
good, good, good. It was like, what the fuck, that was the first time
Mhm.
when you move a business and it's like a destination and it's a place that people come every day. It was a stressful time to like understand, does this location work? What's around me? Will people drive down here? We need a parking lot because no one's going to pay for parking every single day that they go to the
100.
gym, right? Those were all things that were just kind of scary. Are you going to lose clients? Are you going to lose clients that you could then never get back because the area doesn't work, the location, the space? It was a huge upgrade in space. We needed more equipment. We needed,
Yeah.
it was like you just set up a business the way you like it. And then 7 months later, for good reasons, I needed to move to be able to expand and meet the demand. But yeah, it was super scary, but it's been so fruitful. And I'm so glad we did, because geographically now, there are a lot of people that spend money. Yeah, pun intended.
Ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Trademark that. Um, people that are working in Detroit, and now we're right next to the tunnel, and all the people that go and eat dinner. Well, that's not really my demographic so much, but what about the servers and the people in the industry that are working on Erie Street? And then you've got Walkerville over here, and it's just it worked really much better than I thought it was going to be, if I'm being honest. It was really scary, and now I'm like, "This is home. This is where we need to be. This is all good."
And
So,
you did all of this without any help. Like you're the only fitness boutique in Windsor that is not a franchise.
mhm.
You've not
Yeah, maybe. There might be a few that have popped up that are privately owned, but they don't specialize in the things that we specialize in, right? I don't know if there are any women-owned, women-run that are not franchise. That I will say, and if I'm mistaken, I'm sure someone will comment and make me look like an asshole, but from my knowledge, I think we've kind of hit the niche on that one.
and so when talking on the topic of niche, like
Mhm.
overall, like what is your niche? Like would you say?
Like my target market.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to talk business. Like that's
Yeah.
not what I'm getting
Yeah,
at
yeah,
right here.
yeah.
Like who are you finding are the people that are coming in and coming to Shred Shop?
Yeah, what really is amazing to me, and I love, because we're women owned, women operated. Obviously, it's an easy sell for a woman. It's comfortable. You're not being judged. There's nothing around you that would make you feel uncomfortable, right? But we have grown so much in the department of the men that are now coming in
Mhm.
and being like, wow, like these women, and for a female in the fitness industry, like, let's not get it twisted. That's always been a thing. That's always been a, you know, would a man trust a woman to train him? Right? And
Yeah.
vice versa. Men train women all the time. You don't often see women training men. And is that an ego thing? Is that just a genetically we don't have the same muscle things and the bodies aren't identical? Like what's the reason there, What's the
Hmm.
disconnect? So the fact that we're kind of pushing through that boundary and pushing through that barrier, and now we've got almost like a 60-40 split of men that are like, wow, I'm getting a great workout at this place. These women know what the hell they're doing. They're spotting me. They're teaching me new technique, new form. That like my body is changing in ways I never thought I could do it. And I think that that's a really cool thing for me personally. It wasn't like a specific goal or direction. I was like, we need more men in here, but it is so nice. It is so great. And I love all of the men that train in our studio. So that's been like a really, really cool thing that has transitioned and transpired into something beautiful. We also have, not to say the women, right? But it can be more women than men on some days. Our niche is, well, we are all pre and postnatal certified. So that was something when I opened the shred shop that was important to me because as a one on one personal trainer, there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you're training a pregnant woman. There's a
Hmm.
lot of things that can go wrong, like diastasis recti, right? Like if you don't work the core in the right way, you can actually split open the abdominal muscles, and that like requires surgery to repair later. Like these are big things that can happen, right?
Yeah.
And I would see, trainers taking on pregnant clients without really the background knowledge on what exactly to do. They were just kind of like, well, I'll figure this out, or not even realizing that a pregnant female should train differently,
I could not
right?
imagine just going into that and like, oh, I'll figure it out. That's like major.
Well, because in any industry, you see dollar signs sometimes before
100.
you see what's really required of you, right? And I just don't feel like it's responsible to put people's health and family at risk just for us to earn a buck, right? So that was a big thing for me,
Hmm.
for our facility to be outfitted with the proper equipment to support the modifications that would be needed for women, even not if they're pregnant at the time, but prenatal, right? There's women doing IVF and doing different fertility treatments that affects your hormones, that affects the way your body moves, feels, like just understanding what their needs are. And then post pregnancy, when you're coming back, your body's not what it was when you left, and
Hmm.
it's a little bit different, and things feel different, and your time management, your time has changed. You don't really know how to fit your own personal life into your family that you've created. So, those are all things I found very important. And then, financially as well, it's hiring a one-on-one personal trainer for almost $100 an hour 3 days a week. Not every woman, collecting mat leave,
Hmm.
that's a quite a significant pay decrease for a lot of families.
Hmm.
So finding that price point, we offer an 8-week complimentary hold when they do go into labor. So kind of building out this program where women can come, feel safe, be physically, mentally, emotionally supported, and learn themselves what to do and what to avoid. So that's kind of a niche in itself as well. And then just the average active human being that isn't trying to compete against anyone, that wants to come in, that wants a sense of community. We always say the hardest thing about working out is getting off the couch, honestly. It's getting your ass into the gym. So if I could create an environment where people looked forward to showing up, well, then that solves that problem. And now all they have to do is show up, and then we take care of the rest. And getting them there, we fix that problem.
As somebody who has worked out at Shred Shop, I feel like you and all of the trainers there, it really is an environment that is welcoming. Like it's not this like we are inclusive, we are welcoming. Like you actually provide that to people. And as somebody who I don't come from a fitness background, I'm not like I don't live in that world. And so somebody who is, I've when I first came in, I really like I had worked with a trainer years prior, but it wasn't like something that I felt super comfortable in. And so
Yeah.
to come in and obviously for me as a gay person, like being around all women, I feel comfortable immediately.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so there's this environment of we're going to walk you through it, we're going to talk you through it, we're going to, if you
Show
need it,
you.
show you. And for me, no yelling. that was like,
Mhm.
you're not being yelled at, like, "Get on the floor." Like, I don't respond to that. I don't enjoy
Yeah,
that.
neither do I, neither do
Yeah.
I.
I mean,
Yep.
Sandra sometimes, she's
Yeah,
the
but
scary
it's
trainer, but I love
but it's
her.
like yeah, and it's like a positive,
100.
motivational,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Look, you're slacking, I know you can do more, I'm here to
100.
remind you, pull your bootstraps up, let's go," you know? Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't like that drill sergeant approach
No.
either, I'm like, "Who responds well to that?" I
Some people
I
might,
don't.
but it's not for me. I don't like being yelled
No.
at, and so it's, but I don't know, I love it, and the fact that when I would go in, you see every type of person.
Mhm,
From we have middle age to early 20s to millennials to honestly, me being in a class and seeing someone next to me who's probably in her 60s, like a female, and she's kicking ass, and I'm like,
mhm.
I cannot be slacking next to this woman. She's kicking my ass. I gotta push it.
It's so true though. It's so that's the motive, that's like the community, that's the motivational
Mhm.
of or the social motivation
Yeah.
component, right? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For
No,
sure.
it's great to see, and the fact that you can offer that, I don't know. I have been part of the Shred Shop family from day one. As somebody who's worked on your brand, your website, we've been working together since the beginning. So to see the evolution of, hey, I have this idea, I want to bring it to life, and then
Mhm,
seeing the progress to where you are today, that I, I'm a third party, so I'm
mhm.
looking at it from the outside, but I'm so proud of how much you've been hustling and putting into your business. Like, to me, as somebody who has their own, I see that and I'm like, this is motivating, and I love having that in my life.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I can't stress enough the amount of work it requires, right?
Hmm.
And I think that like I remember when I drew up my very first business plan like years and years and years ago and there was like a contingency section and it was like and what happens if, this doesn't work out? What happens if this you don't succeed, And I just remember being like I will just work harder until it does? Question mark. Like that was my answer. I'm just like like hard work beats talent every day, all day, no matter how you slice it.
A hundred
If
percent.
yeah, if things aren't working, you just need to work harder to make them work, right? So it's like the amount of work though. But if you're not ready for that, or if you have it in your mind, like, I'm going to open a business so I can sit on my couch and my staff members can run it, it's like that doesn't happen for years, right? And if
Years.
you have that mentality on day one, you will not last to see years. You got to be there. You got to see it, feel it, touch it, taste it. You have to be the palpable. You have to know what's going on in order for you to be successful, is my opinion. So the work has to happen, you know?
I agree with you though, because so I've been a one man band
Hmm.
for since the beginning. Like, I work with teams, but when it comes to like the core of the business, it's me. I do everything. So I'm almost 8 years in the game, and so
Hmm.
I started just a bit before you, and
Hmm.
I'm at the point now where I know that if I want to expand, I need to hire, but I'm
Yeah.
also A type, and so for me to let go of certain parts of the business, I know that it will benefit me, but also I'm just anticipating it not going the way that I would like it to, just based on me having so much control already. And so I know that that's like the logical next step, but for you, you kind of went into that right off the bat. Like, you didn't really have like a let me just do this on my own.
Yeah. I needed staff, right? I needed staff. But I will tell you this, and this is like a tip from me to you
Yeah.
specifically. When I hire, and when you consider hiring, if you get to the point where you're like, I absolutely have to do this,
Hmm.
if you were to hire someone who you get along with, you see eye to eye with, you have the same vision of life, the same views, and the
Hmm.
same core values, if you make that priority when you pick your person, then you can teach them everything they need to know. If you focus too much on credentials right out the gate, you don't know, you get someone who really knows what they're doing, but someone you don't really want to be around while they're doing it.
A
That
hundred.
synergy is no bueno, right? And so I was like you. I was type A. I was, even though it was, me and one other person, Amanda, at the beginning. And then we evolved into like a staff of 8, a staff of 9, But for those 2 months, 3 months before we had to bring on a third person, that was it. It was her and I working together every day, and me explaining to her that, like, you need to see things through my eyes. You need to be me. Outside of here, you be yourself, and when you're in the shop and I'm not here, you need to be me. But
Mhm.
it was on me to teach her that, right? And I feel like then once we had built that trust and I had seen, she was answering emails the same way I would speak to a client. She was, rectifying situations the same way I would. Once I started to see that, then the trust was there and I could take a step back and wholeheartedly trust that everything was running the way it would if I was there. So for you, you just need to invest, you need to pick someone that makes sense,
Yeah.
not on what they know, but on who they are. And that goes for anyone hiring any staff member, right? And then moving forward, you have to invest a significant amount of your time into turning them into geo squared, geo part 2, the new and improved model. And
Uh-huh.
then once you have enough trust built between the two of you, you will find that you can take a little bit of a step back and just kind of watch and observe and, poke and pick and fix if you need to, but eventually that's what's going to give you the confidence to be like, okay, this doesn't seem like such an overwhelming, daunting task of like, you're not just, hi, just met you. Here's my business. Keep it afloat. That's not how it's going to
Could
go,
never be me. Could
Mm-hmm.
never be me.
Mm-hmm.
The thing going into this year, I said to myself, I need the word or the theme of 2025 for me is alignment. I need
Yeah,
to
it's a
make
great one.
sure, right? Like I'm like, I need to be aligned in all aspects of my life when it comes to my personal, the relationships I have, the people that I let into my life, the energy that I'm giving, who I'm interacting with, the projects I'm working on, the clients I work with. And last year felt like I was in almost like that an in-between year where nothing was moving. It felt very slow. Like I was like questioning, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Things don't feel right. And taking like a bird's eye Google Earth view of the situation, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I feel like I need to shed things,
Mm-hmm.
people, and
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
out. And now as I was like moving into this, okay, I think I know what I want this year to be. For me, I want to make sure that I'm connecting with people that give back to me in a way that is copacetic. And so I am 100% on board with what you're saying. I think that there's no way that I could bring someone into the business that my baby that I had
Mm-hmm.
this, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
have children. I'm not like, to me, this is what I've created from
Yes.
scratch. I've
Yeah.
raised it. I've nurtured it, sometimes neglected it. Like it's, all
Yeah.
those. And
Mhm.
so I'm at a point now where if I'm going to bring someone in, the credentials don't mean to me.
No, no. You hire personality and then you train talent.
A
That's it.
hundred. Seeing the evolution of Shred, and now, what's your team at now?
Well, you know what? I've kept it pretty tight. I've kept it pretty tight. I had a couple coaches, kind of move on with their personal lives or
Hmm.
move away, move out of country. So we're sitting comfortable at 6, myself included. And I find that the energy is good. We all get along. We're friends inside, outside. It's not too much to manage for me, like on from a scheduling perspective. Members are seeing, the same coach a couple times a week, which
Yeah,
builds really good relationship with them, right? Those are
100%.
always the things I think about. It's like even if a coach doesn't have availability as often as I'd like, it's like I want you here in the morning and then I want you here at night. I want different members to see you throughout the week. Like how I schedule my staff is dependent on what I think the members will like, right? And then obviously how does that fit into the business needs?
Hmm.
But it's working really well with the and everyone's got the hours that they want, and this is like our sweet. We're right now we're just in our sweet spot, and we're you know, now that I'm saying this out loud, I need to take a moment and I need to like, oh, it's gonna make me emotional. I need to like appreciate this minute
Hmm.
because until this moment, until you ask me this question, I am always on to the next, on to the next, on to the next.
Aren't
And
we
for
all?
years during COVID, since COVID, for years, I've been praying, can I just ride the train? Can I just buckle my seatbelt, have all systems running, and just ride the train
Yeah.
for a hot minute
Yeah.
where the ceiling's not leaking, the COVID's not happening, the lockdowns aren't happening, no one in my family's dying, I'm not dying.
Hmm.
You know, staff members aren't quitting. Think like I memberships are coming. I have been begging and praying just to ride the train for a minute without a giant catastrophe. And it wasn't until this moment that I just realized we've been riding the train since January. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
short train ride, but we
Don't
have been.
question it.
No, no, I'm gonna knock on my wood table here.
Hmm.
I'm not questioning it, but it's good to take a moment and like reflect and just appreciate it before it's gone and I forget it or miss that it even happened.
It's
So thanks
so
for that.
You're welcome, and I didn't do that on purpose. It was just just a question,
Made me cry on a podcast. God damn it.
but it's the truth. I listen. We all do this where we once again A type. You're the thing. This is the thing that is so it's paying our bills, and
Yeah,
so it's not like we could always fall back and go to a full time job, but at the end of the day, we chose this life for a reason. We don't. I don't necessarily the idea of having to work under someone else like has no appeal to me, and so
you know, I
and
wouldn't
so
even know how to go back and do it.
I would
I would not even I don't know how I would give it an honest try, but I don't know how I could.
I'd be
Like
miserable.
calling in sick instead of just like, "Hey guys, I'm not feeling well, figure it out," or like
Yeah.
scheduling a vacation other than just me saying, "Hey gang, this is when my vacation is in a couple months," like
Mhm.
I don't know that I could do it.
No, and the train comment is so real because I don't know, sometimes I'm like, I don't there's so many things you have to think about, and the fact that when things are going smoothly, it's almost we do that thing where you're anticipating the other
You're
shoe
waiting.
dropping. Yeah, you're
Yep.
like, what's gonna fuck up? You know what I mean? Something's gonna happen, and then I'm just moving out of a period of oh my god, like everything's falling apart, blah blah blah. Like I'm not where I'm at, where I want to be. But once again, in retrospect, you're like, oh, I have to go through this. Like, and at this point, you would think that I would have figured out, yeah, there's waves, but I still am like, oh my god, it's over. Like,
Have you ever heard of the gap versus the gain? You
no.
heard of that? So, well, I can't even take credit for this because one of my clients who's a chiropractor and she specializes in all of this like central nervous system and mindset and all of that. She's done a few seminars and she will actually be coming to the shred shop in May to do a seminar just about what stress does for the body and how to focus your energy and all the things we need to hear more of.
Hmm.
She taught me that the gap, and there's books on it too, but the gap and the gain. The gap is where most of us live, and that's where you just described it. You are sometimes. You're in the gap of here's where I am, and here's where I need to be. And I'm in this gap, and nothing good happens mentally in that gap when you're
Hmm.
measuring from where you are to where you want to be. And if you flip that backwards and you measure the gain of where you started to where you are now, it's a mindset. It's a mind for sure. And it's
Hmm.
hard and it's a daily practice. You have to turn it around. But if you can flip and just for one brief moment think about the gain, your whole mind shifts, everything, and you just puts you in a more positive state, a more clear state, like physiologically, not just
Yeah.
mentally. Like your nervous system does different things, your brain fires differently, like there's a whole different set of benefits physically, emotionally, and mentally from turning your brain into the gain instead of living in that gap where everything feels overwhelming and you don't feel good enough and you're not sure that you can do this. And it's if you do a little Google search after we have this conversation, and it's really interesting for sure.
I feel like there's so much content out there, literature, whatever you want to call it, where people use different terms for that.
Yep, yep,
Whether it's
yep.
being present or taking inventory of what you've achieved, or just looking back. And I'm currently listening to an audiobook. Um, oh man, Becoming Supernatural by
Mm,
Joe Dispenza. Listening to it, one of the things that really struck a chord with where I've been recently
mhm.
is this: your body and your thoughts are so, obviously we know this, are so ingrained with our physicality. Inert for me anyway, I speak for myself, my go-to is fear. Like I
Mm,
am always afraid. I'm afraid that I'm going to fail. I'm afraid that things are going to fall apart. This is my narrative. Like
mhm.
nothing is ever enough. I have to keep pushing.
Yep.
It's been like, I've had a go of it over the last little while, and having conversations with Tyler, with my mother, with people close to me who are like, "You're fine. Like you're
Hmm.
literally good. I don't see it for you. You see this crazy story, but I don't like." And actually just finally like listening and being like, "Okay, wait, no. I actually know what the I'm doing."
Yeah. If
I
enough people are telling you the same thing, Geo, it's in your best interest to believe them.
And it's like it's because I feel like, especially for, and I only speak for myself, but especially recently where it's almost, I think because I'm at the on the precipice of like a new chapter in
Hmm.
my life, a new era, whether it's
Hmm.
professionally, personally, etc. I feel like the old ways are kind of like trying to hold you back when it's you're shedding them, but it's like there, it's like one last go to see like, let me just pull this monkey mind negative self-talk, and I feel like I'm coming out of it. Especially I see spring is in the it's coming.
I know the sun came out as I was running errands earlier. I was like, oh, sunglasses on, everything's okay. The
Hmm.
sunshine changes everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when it comes to that, not to be like Oprah moment, but those moments of like self-doubt, like have, other than, I know fitness is always going to be the thing that I feel like snaps us out of it, but like for you, because you've had a lot on your plate, like what is your, how do you kind of get through those times?
Yeah, and we can say fitness, fitness, fitness till we're blue in the face, but the reality of this situation is like less than 20% of people actually get up and work out and move around. So
Hmm.
even if that is the answer, we're not doing it. So we need to find a new answer.
Uh,
And it's also not realistic if you're at your desk in the middle of a workday and you're really, really in your feelings to just what? Sorry, guys, be back in an hour. Got to go do burpees in the parking lot. It's just not
that
realistic,
visual.
right? It's not realistic for the average person.
Hmm.
For me, I do like a countdown. So I know through therapy
Hmm.
um, that, but they give you the tools, man. They do give you the tools. So even in the workout, we count 10, 9, 8, right? All the way. And your brain is already programmed through habit and upbringing that when it gets to zero, something has to change. Whether it's time to rest, time to break, time to go home, time to switch jobs, trying to, right? When there is a countdown, at the end of that countdown, something different is going to happen. What is it? So I try and sit in a space of like, okay, I'm in it, I'm feeling it. That countdown, my body has like without you even realizing it, we are trained to have like a physical reaction to a countdown because
Hmm.
they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You sit at the red light, you count 3, 2, 1. When's it going to change? Like
Yeah,
everything
it's
in you,
so
in a
true.
hockey, every sport you've ever watched, the timeouts, the this, there's countdowns all around you. So take advantage of the fact that we're pre-programmed to respond to the end of a countdown. And whether it's 5 seconds, 1 minute, 30 minutes, even if I set a timer, sometimes I'll set a timer on my phone and be like, okay, depending on where I am and what I'm doing, I have 5 minutes. And then I have to, when that timer stops, I have to get up and I have to either do the dishes, clean the house, do something I've been avoiding because I'm a huge procrastinator sometimes, get
Hmm.
back to work, right? Or it could be as easy as when that timer goes, I'm going to do something different with my brain, right? If that's calling a friend or if that's reaching out to my mom, just shifting from sitting in my room or sitting at my desk and just being like, my life today, I find that works for me. I don't know if it works for everybody, but if you haven't tried it, I would try it because there is something powerful of like, oh, I've only got 5 minutes left. Oh, I've only got 3 minutes left. And it's like you instinctively know, yeah, you could shut the phone off. You could turn the timer off and say, fuck
Hmm.
it. But there is a brief moment there where you feel like you need to do something because a countdown just went off. And if you can capitalize and maximize on that one moment, then you're good.
I need to do that.
I mean, I can only share with what I've tried, I would never preach something I didn't know much about. So try it. Try it. Let me know.
I
Report back.
I gotta start timing my days. I feel
Mm.
like it's gonna help me.
Honestly, though, I used to do that a lot when I opened the business because time management for me was like in our industry, things pop up pretty quickly, right? Like you think your day is going to go one way, and then oh, there's the CRA, oh, the bank, oh, the lights are burnt out, oh, the ceiling's leaking, oh, a member called and there's an issue with their account. Now that's my priority, right?
Mhm.
So I used to set timers all the time, like. Okay, I've got 2 hours to get this done. I got to get the newsletter done in under 40 minutes. Set the timer. And like you feel the pressure. You're like, oh my God, there's 20 minutes left. High gear, high gear. It's a great tool. It really is.
Well, by doing that, I think you not I think you're disciplining yourself to, okay, I know I have so much time. I'm going to effectively use this time because we live in an era where we're not, we get
Mhm,
sucked into,
mhm.
our phones and
Scrolly,
technology
scroll. Yep.
over nothing. And so to actually say, okay, let me put my head down and actually focus is something that is a lost art, I feel like today.
Mhm. And that's the thing too, right? I hear people acknowledging who they are all the time, right? Like I openly just said I am a procrastinator. I know
Hmm.
that, right? There are people who are terrible with time management. There are people who will admit I am lazy. There are people who admit I cannot focus on more than one thing at a time or focus in general, right? It's like if you've done the work to identify what it is about you that is holding you back, then why are you not taking the steps to change that or to help that or to move it along, right? It's like saying I have poor time management. Okay. So why for the rest of my life am I just going to accept that I have poor time management? Like, why would I not look for something to help me manage my time better? It just, it's a crazy concept to me because I hear it all the time. People are like, no, I procrastinate. I'm like, what are you doing to not be a procrastinator? Nothing. Okay.
But I think people, and we all do this, I'm guilty, if we will say
Yeah.
I'm this thing, even
Yep.
though it's something you can easily fix. Not easily. Some things take work. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but you can put energy towards. So it's almost like a way to like, oh, that's just
Hmm.
it. Just is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to accept responsibility or put in any effort if you're just like, "That's who I am."
People don't like to do it because they don't want to look under the hood of themselves and say, okay, you know what, this thing that I know I suck at. If I don't put the energy, but we all have the effort to. We can all put the effort in to better ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like on the topic of discipline, one of the things that is upcoming is because this episode is going to come out in towards the end of March. And
Okay.
so you're hosting an annual consistency challenge, which is in April
May.
and May. So it's coming in May. And so on the topic of getting your shit
Yeah.
together,
Yeah. Yeah, we've labeled it "Get Your Shit Together" for the only reason that, number 1, I mean, if you're a member of Shred Shop, you appreciate the verbiage there, and it
love it.
speaks to you, right? It
Hmm.
speaks to you. And if you don't get it or you're offended by it, then
It's not for you.
that's why you don't come to our gym. Exactly, exactly.
100%.
But I feel like getting your shit together encompasses more than just a weight loss challenge or a fitness challenge, right?
Hmm.
And that's really what we aim. It's a consistency challenge of consistently getting your shit together.
Hmm.
And that comes from, you know, setting goals that are outside of this is how much weight I want to lose, this is how much muscle mass. So, okay, we get that. We all can step on a scale and figure that out. But what are you doing about the kind of person that you are?
Hmm.
Like, are you doing nice things? We challenge them throughout the month to, step outside of your comfort zone and do something nice for someone else. Call someone you haven't spoken to in over a year. Like, there's things throughout the monthly challenge. We have a couple community events. We did a polar plunge before. We'll be doing that again where we all get together and try and run into Lake Erie and see how long we can stay in there together as a team. We do it, social and charity events throughout the month just to get people back on track, in addition to setting goals for their nutrition, but realistic ones, right? Like, we're not going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. So we help, right? And that throws people off. They make these insane goals without any knowledge or education on how realistic those are. And then when they fall short, well, fuck it didn't work. I'm never doing that again. It's like, no, it was working. You just didn't understand how long it would actually take. So you f- that up when you set the goal, not you that up by what you were doing that was a healthy change. So that's what it's about. We encourage recovery, right? Like they have to document stretching and taking cold showers, hot showers, stretching their body. What are you doing at home for your body? Heating pads, magnesium. What kind of supplements will help you feel better, sleep better? So it's not just a challenge for anyone who wants to lose weight. We've had members join because they wanted to gain muscle. We've had members join because they just wanted to do something with other people. And
Hmm.
they were like, I'm just happy for anything that changes. So we more into body composition. What do you actually want to have happen? And we can't change, I'm 37. I can't change 37 years of habits in 30 days. That's not the point. But I can
Girl.
definitely, right? But I can definitely acquire the tools from professionals and from other people that are like minded, that are also in the challenge with me. And then I can carry on those tools after. Right. And we do Zoom calls throughout the month so that we bring everybody together. This year we might actually have them all in for like an in-person seminar. So it's a really exciting month of May for us, because so many people are always interested in joining, because it's not specific to just weight loss or something like this, right? It brings in a lot of different people, different members, non-members. Um and then it brings the community together for 30 full days. What more could you ask for?
So you're having them document that. Okay, so I talked to my sister about this. So my sister's an
Yep.
osteopath,
Yep.
and she is her whole platform is around wellness. And so she monitors everything, like with herself, like her supplement intake, products she uses on her skin and how they
Mhm.
affect her. She's so aware. And her talking to me about that, I'm realizing how unaware I am
Mhm.
to everything. Like I'm just not conscious when it comes to my habits or how, what affects if I had this. She's like, well, what did you eat? Why are you feeling this way? This is affected to this. And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't notice. She'll like give me, she's like, oh, start taking ashwagandha. I start taking it. She's like, did you notice anything? I'm like, no. She's like, how are you not like, how do you not, are you not aware? I'm like, because I haven't trained myself to consciously, go about my day and thinking like, okay, so today I had two cup coffees, not one. And then, things like this where we're more aware. So I'm sure that just beyond the goal setting, there's a lot more that is beneficial to the challenge.
Awareness. And yeah, I mean, awareness for sure. It's like you're pulling the curtain and making people look at things and think about things that
Hmm.
they haven't ever or haven't in a long time, right? And a lot of positive change comes from just that. Like, I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know. And when I sit with clients and they're trying to set goals for themselves, it's like, I understand you don't want to see what the scale has to say right now,
Hmm.
but we cannot predict where we're going to go and how we're going to get there if we don't know where we are, right? Like, hey, Gio, I'll meet you in Berlin. And you're like, cool. What time, what day, and where do you want to meet? And I'm like, well, I don't know where I'm leaving from or how I'm getting there. So I'm not sure, right? Like, the journey can't happen if you don't know where you're starting from. Like, we
Hmm.
can't plan a trip together if we don't even know what country I'm leaving from to get to Berlin to meet you. Like, yeah, you just have to get comfortable with making the unknown known and paying attention to what you're actually doing every day. It's crazy.
It is
And it
honestly.
sounds easy, but it's not.
It's not easy. I'm sorry. It is not
I
easy to
know.
look under the hood. Like I said it
No.
already, I feel like to be like to scrutinize yourself and not in a negative way where you're talking down, but to really look at like, okay, how have I gotten to this point? How have I, like, what are the things that I've done to get to today?
Yep.
And then acknowledging them. Like, I know,
Being in the game.
yeah, yeah. It's one of my biggest issues. And you and I have talked about this is I am an emotional eater.
Mm,
That is something where it's like an unconscious thing where I've had to like realize I'm like, oh, I'm not 100%. Because when I'm feeling good, I don't really like, I don't touch
mm,
food outside of my
mm,
main meals.
mhm,
And so I know so if ever you see me get
mhm.
bigger, it's, I'm not doing well.
Well, that's actually a really good piece of information to know, because I did
Yeah.
not. I mean, maybe briefly in conversation that's come across, but
Hmm.
I now, knowing that, I'm going to store that one in the back here,
Yeah.
little real estate spot back here,
Yeah.
and I will definitely check in.
Yeah. Because and that's going back to what I said, where
Yeah.
I'm consciously being aware of what my cycles or my patterns are, and I have to meditate more or just be a bit more grounded and realize like everything's fine. You don't need to stress. You are causing. I'll never forget this. I went to a medium a few years ago,
Mm,
and one of the first things she said to me was, so like your spirit guides or whatever, like the people that are looking over you,
Hmm.
they're irritated by you. She's like, you overthink, and the chatter of your mind is annoying to them. So you need to find a
Wow.
way to calm yourself. And that's like one of the first things she said to me. I'm like, this lady's reading me to shit. I was like,
That's
even in this
wild.
spirit realm, I'm
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. 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 But at least you were able to take that and be like, wow,
Let me apply
okay.
it to real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
wild.
So you've been open for 7 years, and I feel like you're like a goal setter. I feel a lot of people don't necessarily set goals, and you have achieved so many of your goals. Like, where do you see the next 7 years go? I know that's such an annoying question, but like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, where do you see yourself in 7 years?
Here's why, and I'll be beyond honest with you,
Yeah.
okay? Like embarrassingly honest with you. The reason why I have always struggled my whole life to answer that question, whether it be in grade 7 when we had to fill out the family tree and it was like, and where do you see yourself in 10 years? I really struggle with being able to quantify success, what it means to me.
Hmm.
I I am almost 7 years in business. I am almost 40 years old. I have so many accolades next to my fucking name,
Hmm.
and I don't know how to put into words what success would feel like to me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm. Yeah.
Okay. Some people say when I have $1 million in my bank account, I'll know I've made it, right?
Hmm.
Some people, when I have this car, when I buy this, when I'm able to buy a house for my mom, then I will
Hmm.
feel like I've achieved success. And I don't know if that's just like a personal thing that I set the bar too high, or I'm always, I don't know where I want to be because I don't know when enough is enough, and what success means to me. Well, I thought at one point I thought it was having a million shred shops all around Canada. And after having two, I went, let me retract that statement. That is not at
Hmm.
all. That did not bring me the sense of belonging, the sense of I've made it, the sense of like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself. It didn't do that.
Yeah.
Having all the money in the bank isn't doing that. Having, and the only thing I can say up to this point that is doing that is when we set our goals and our targets at work and the shred shop, I never say to my staff, we need to make this much money this month, right? I look at, these are the members. How many members do we want to help? Or how many lives do we want to change, right? If we focus on the customer and the client experience, and that's our focus, is giving someone the best first class of their life, keeping tabs on them, that's what translates into money without
a
us
hundred
focusing on
percent.
money, right? So the one thing that does make me feel accomplished at this time is like seeing how large the community's grown, and knowing that those are all people that love coming, that see value in what we do, and that are changing their lives, like whether their relationships are better because they feel more confident with their partner, or that you're able to go on vacation and buy a two-piece bathing suit for the first time in 10 years. You can ride the airplane and not have to get a seatbelt extender, or like these
Hmm.
stupid things. I know I'm making a difference in people's lives, and that is helping me figure out, in the next 5 to 7 years, I will need to be doing something that is still helping people. Whether that's getting into life coaching, whether that's, getting into something that might be a little bit more one on one, because I am almost 40, at some point, I
I'm
can't be
right behind
seven.
you,
Right. I
sister.
can't. Yeah. It's not realistic to say I'm going to be 70 years old coaching 10 classes a day, moving dumbbells and kettlebells. Like, that's just
Hmm.
not realistic. At some point in the next 15 to 20 years, the shred shop will need to be passed down, and it will need to keep running, and I will need to do something. So, from a personal standpoint, I'd love to be living somewhere tropical
Hmm.
and be working remotely online or something, but I'm talking like at least 20 years from now. But through in the business, I would just like to just be kicking ass still. And I would like, for Shred Shop to be one of the most desired destinations for fitness. And I would love to keep having people have great experience and say nothing but nice things, and just come in and truly enjoy being there, and have it be the best part of their day. Like that's how I feel success at this point, and that's what I want to ride that train for 7 years for sure.
I was gonna say that just brings up the train comment because you're doing that.
Yeah,
It's like you're not doing that.
yeah,
And I think a healthy way to approach the goal is exactly the way you're doing it, which is not monetary or with what you can gain, but it's what you're giving.
yeah.
And that, to me, if you would ask me that, it was reversed. Like my answer would be, I want to be at peace.
Hmm.
That is my goal.
That's a great answer.
You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
more I think about, as I'm like, once again, I'm mid to this side of 35 and
Yep.
thinking about, going into it 15 years ago. I want to be successful. I want to work for a major agency. I want to do this. I want to work this, that. And I'm like, I don't really care. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have all this pressure. I want to work at my own pace. I want to connect with people. I want to, like, one of the first things that I found was I that for me was fulfilling in my job was when I moved back to Windsor
Mm.
and I was able to take this skill set that I had and help business owners in my hometown
Yeah.
to live their dream and help
Yeah.
brand their businesses so that they can feel confident to go out into the world and be represented in their brand with the creative that I've done. And so I'm like, with you and Sam and so many other businesses, I'm like,
Yeah.
that to me was like, wow, I'm actually giving back. I'm not just looking at a paycheck. And I've been able
Exactly.
to build what I've been able to build over the last few years. And to me, that I like, so to that is the thing I think, and you're going about it in a healthy way. Not that I'm trying, like, I'm not any authority on this, but I just think that that's a healthy way to go about it, where it's like, I want to continue to affect people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I think that's a very non-narcissist view on how we can quantify success.
Yeah.
You
Cause
know,
like, and,
it's
and
not
you're,
about us at the end of the day. It's
it
about,
isn't.
and I think that's just life, when you have a family, it's not about you, it's about your family. It's,
Mhm.
like it's just that's a very human reaction, a good human reaction, I think.
And going back to the story about the medium, one of the things she said was, and like, I don't, everyone has their thoughts on mediums and whatever, but she was telling me that no, people could not
Oh, I
just
love it. I love
pull out of their
I'm all
ass.
in. I'm right into that stuff. Yep.
And one of the things she said to me, and it stuck with me, was the reason we are on this earth is to help one another. Like, point blank, if you were to sum up why we're here, what's the
Yeah.
bigger, this existential crisis that people have? At the end of the day, it's to help one another, and that is what you're doing.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So we are nearing the end. I cannot believe it's been an hour.
That
That's
flew
crazy.
by. I knew it would.
I know, honestly, I do need to see you in person, though. I will say
Hmm.
we need
Yeah.
to hang out. But I was going into this. You're my second episode ever. Like, I've just started. I
Mhm.
know, and so I was thinking about, how do I want to end? I want to end each episode in the same way, and I have like a recurring question that I ask my guests. I want to ask you, in your life, and this can be either personal, professional, a mix of both. But what is the most on brand thing that you've ever done?
Jesus.
Knowing who you are as Sawyer.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Um, okay. So
Yes, get into it.
so this happens actually quite frequently, and it is going to forever be on brand. So when I had my podcast back in the COVID, oh shit, what are we going to do days,
Hmm.
there was a lot about women and women's health, right? And I'm always up for talking about the things that most people don't talk about, right? All the weird things that come out of our bodies and the
Hmm.
smells and okay. So my everyone who's listened to that and anyone who knows me inside the gym, they will come to me with their questions. They will always ask me like super personal, inappropriate to most people, and I thrive on that. I'm like, let's get below the surface here? How can I help you?
Yeah.
What can I do? I'd love to be the person that ask the questions to that you don't feel comfortable asking anyone else, right?
Uh-huh.
So farts are like a big topic, right? Super, super topic, and like stinky farts. And I encourage members not to hold them in, right? Like I encourage, if we're stretching and you have to fart, like let it out, man. It hurts to hold it in. It's not good for you to hold it in.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a topic of conversation all the time. And there's been a few mornings. Now we wake up really early, right? We open the doors at 5:45, class starts
Mhm.
at 6. So when I get up at 4:30, like my bowels aren't always moving yet. It's
Yeah.
still really early. And then by the time I get to work and I've had a coffee, now I'm like 20 minutes in with a headset running around teaching people and I have to shit bad, you know? And that's when the stinkiest farts come out. And so before, years ago, I would like quietly go and like fart in the corner and not let anyone know and then come back out and coach. But
Uh-huh.
now that it's like farting in the shop is
Stop.
such a thing, I will just purposely walk around and like crop dust them and but like let them know it's happening, like walk around like and then and then jokingly, some of them think I'm joking and some of them will smell it and be like, she just shit on my face right now while I was working out. But it's usually the morning, and I only ever do it to like the people who really get it and understand it and think it's
Oh my
hilarious. But
god.
I feel like that would be on brand for like, we're just going to put it out there
Yeah.
and it is what it is. And if we can make a joke of it and make a light of it, and if your coach can go around and just fart her way to the bathroom every morning and no one cares, then like everyone else should feel comfortable to do it too.
You're creating a safe space.
For real though, like a safe space across the board. Yeah, for everything. So
Sawyer, I'm obsessed with you. I love that of all the things. I
to
love it.
think, but once it came to mind, once I got my brain rolling in the right direction, I was like, I got something good for him. So it's a good
Oh, that's
question.
perfect.
Hmm.
So if anyone is wondering where they can connect with you, where they can check out memberships or classes or come and talk
Hmm.
to you about nutrition, like where can they find you?
So our website, shredshop.ca, newly renovated, newly updated by Geo himself. Yes, all of the membership information and trial pass information would be on there. I'm pretty sure on every landing page, Geo has put like a contact us, reach out to us, email here. So there's no possible way that you wouldn't be able to reach us if you started on the website. We always offer complimentary consultations, so you can come in at any time, meet a trainer, see the facility, kind of look over options. We offer sample classes, trial classes. Right now, we're doing 5 classes for $5. So for
Amazing.
yeah, so for first, before we used to do just one trial class, and I learned that sometimes people need more than just one 45-minute
A
class,
hundred
right?
percent.
Different body parts, different coaches, different vibe, try different times of day, see what works well.
Mhm.
I mean, $1 a class, how can you go wrong? So any new members that interested in that, that's on the website. And then obviously we use the Mind Body app. So that's an option. If you were to download the Mind Body app and then search Shred Shop, you would be able to see, our class times and purchase some of those introductory offers and 10 class packs. And then, I mean, you can always call the numbers everywhere, 519-258-6161. If we don't answer,
Love it.
if you're that person, I'm that person. Sometimes I like to just talk to a human.
Mhm.
So we got the landline, we got two. I'm like, I'm all about it. I'm all about just call the landline. I'm back in the 80s where the phones had cords. So, and then our Instagram, Facebook at shredshop.inc. And I think that's it for contact.
Amazing.
Or drive down to 815 Erie Street and bang on the windows. There's that option too.
You can't miss it. It's
Can't
honestly
miss it.
amazing. I love the look. I love the exterior. It looks so fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for doing this. This has been amazing.
My pleasure, love. Thank you for asking all the right things and, and being open to listen to all my long-winded answers.
I can always talk to you forever. Like this
This
is
is true.
just the fact that I could have you on this platform is just a win-win for me.
Agreed. Agreed. So much.
And to anyone who wants to follow or connect with me, you can check out graphic content on YouTube, Instagram. You can check Geographic, my website. You can subscribe, leave a review, share with a friend. I'm brand new, so I would appreciate any of that. And if you have any inquiry about design, you can reach out to me through geographic.com.
Well, okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Peace out.